All right, let's dive into a topic that is, well, an absolute minefield online: multi level marketing. Today, we're going to try and cut through all that noise using a guide that claims to finally set the record straight. This really is the big question, isn't it? I mean, depending on where you look, you'll find people screaming from the rooftops on both sides. Is it a legitimate path to financial freedom, or is it a trap just designed for failure? And that's the heart of the problem, right? For every glowing success story you find, there seems to be an absolute horror story right next to it. This flood of conflicting information makes it feel almost impossible to get a clear picture. Okay, so let's start by digging into this first section where we really look at these extreme, totally opposing views. So on one side, you have people celebrating MLM like it's a life-changing opportunity. And on the other, you've got people calling it a massive scam, where only the folks at the very, very top make any real money. Now, the source for our explainer points out that both of these passionate views come from personal experience, which is exactly why this whole conversation is so polarized. So with all that chaos, how in the world do we find the truth? Well, that's where our source material comes in. It doesn't claim to be just another opinion, but a guide, a framework, designed to bring some clarity. And that is a really bold claim. The author isn't just saying, here's my 2 cents. They're trying to fundamentally correct the misunderstandings that fuel this entire debate. It's not about feeling, it's about definition. Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts. Let's see what our source guide actually defines as the structure of a genuine or true MLM company. So, according to the guide, this is the absolute foundation. A true MLM isn't just some middleman or reseller. It actually creates its own stuff. And the people selling the products are also customers themselves, which is meant to create this network of authentic users. Now, this is where it gets really specific. There are some ground rules. First, exclusivity is key. You can't just walk into Target and buy these products off the shelf. Second, the company handles all the logistics, the shipping, the warranties. That means the distributor's job is to promote, not to run a warehouse. And all of this, apparently, stems from that original Amway model. And this is a really, really important distinction. Think of it like this. Every MLM uses direct selling to move its products. But that doesn't mean every company that uses direct selling is a true MLM. Our source says a lot of them don't follow those core principles we just talked about, especially the one about making their own products. Okay, so we've talked about the business model. Let's shift gears and talk about the human element, because this really helps us understand why people have such incredibly different experiences with MLM. So the guide really stresses that a proper MLM is structured just like any other business. You've got founders, a management team, a whole production line. The distributors, well, they're basically the outsourced marketing and sales team. They're just one piece of a much, much bigger machine. Now, this breakdown is fascinating. The source splits distributors into 3 completely different groups. You have the natural distributors, who are basically just huge fans who got in early. You have the professional salespeople, the masters who could sell anything to anyone. And then you have this middle group, the aspirants, the ones really trying to turn this into a full-time career. And, wow, this slide shows the tough reality for that middle group. According to the guide, a staggering 90% of those aspirants, the people who are actively trying to build a business, are gone within 3 years. Only 10% actually stick it out. And here is where the guide connects all the dots. That 90% who leave, they're described as the fallen dreamers. These are folks who jumped in with huge hopes, but maybe didn't have that natural talent for sales. And their negative experience is what fuels that massive wave of online criticism we all see. So, if that's why people fail, what does it take to succeed? Well, the guide's point is that success isn't about luck. It's about being prepared. It argues you need a natural knack for sales, some serious grit, enough cash to float you through the rough start, and you've got to be willing to learn. It's a real business, not a lottery ticket. Okay, so how does this all wrap up? Let's take a look at the guide's final, ultimate verdict on what MLM really is. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. According to this take, what MLM is a system of word-of-mouth marketing, a legitimate business for people who are actually prepared for it. What it is not is a shortcut to easy money, some kind of magical passive income stream, or something that's a good fit for absolutely everyone. I think this one sentence perfectly captures the core message here. The system itself is presented as neutral.
It's not inherently a miracle, and it's not inherently a scam. It simply magnifies the skills, the talent, and the work ethic, or the lack thereof, that a person brings to the table.
So there you have it, a very clear, structured framework for what a true MLM is supposed to be. But does this actually match up with reality? Is this the real picture? Honestly, we want to hear from you. Share your story, whether it was good or bad, down in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going.